Greetings to all. Welcome again to Lance and Louise Batiste of Trinidad and Tobago's channel. With me this morning is Dad, and he's going to be assisting me with some videotaping. So we hope that you enjoy this presentation. We'll be here in the garden. Most likely his video will come out first because I want to do some editing on my video. So hope you enjoy this clip, and you know how my dad does it. One shot. So Dad?
Yes.
We could step across by the tomatoes. No, you. Oh,
Okay.
right.
Ready? We're going on, right?
Yeah. Greetings, everyone. Welcome again to my channel. I am Lasana Batiste. Do you have a passion for gardening? I certainly do. There is always something new taking place in the garden. Yesterday, I was having some problems getting access to this particular area here. This was really jumbled up, and I created a nice pathway here. I have my compost there, so now it's a nice free flow. We also opened up this particular area, so now I have access. This particular area is really hard, so that's the reason why I'm putting potted plants there. I would like to say a special thanks to Anne Brown, who brought some well-needed gifts. She brought a lovely pruning shears, some straps, which I am about to use shortly. These are to tie the tomato plants onto the stake. So, Anne, this is really appreciated. She also brought, did I show you the pruning shears? And I'm about to use it, so I'm going to show you all in this episode how to go about pruning your tomato plants. Also, Franz was not left out, so Franz is in for a treat this morning. And guys, let me tell you something. And just as you left and I re-entered the house, I reached in time. Mommy was about to open the bacon bits. She actually thought it was beef jerky. Oh gosh, hey. Right, you could stop it. The clip there, that. Right.
Show me how to stop this. I really want to stop it.
Okay, right, let's stop there, right? And when you're ready, just
Right,
hit back
ready.
that button. So this will really come inconvenient because it looks. No, you're not a table, as it. As I'm telling you now.
Yeah,
These
yeah.
will come in really handy because, you know, this is a bit of a eyesore.
You tie straps.
Yes.
And the green will match with
What's your cousin's name that was here yesterday?
Arlene.
Arlene. So Arlene, remember that camera behind here, Dad?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah. Arlene was here and she was showing me how to go about pruning the plants. Yes.
Ready.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Okay, so you can run the camera now. So I'm not familiar with these. Also, you'll be able to reuse them because I was wondering if it was like a zip tie. But what you actually do is you push it in here and then it locks. So you could reuse these. I was wondering. Okay, so you could come in closer with the camera now. So we're gonna stick this tomato plant here. Not too tight, just enough to hold the plant close towards the
Steak.
stake, yes. Right, and it definitely calls for sticking here. So this is really a convenient thing, and it's reusable. a twist, and pull it through. There you have the plant looking. And the good thing is, as the plant grows, you could slacken these. So this is really, really a convenient thing. Now, you would have heard about people pruning tomato trees. And let's start off by seeing there are two types of tomato plants. They are determinate and indeterminate. And what does this mean? Determinate are tomato plants that are designed to bear up to a particular age. These tomato plants will give you like 2 or 3 very good bearings, such as these. You'll get large quantities of tomatoes, but then most of the times they stop producing. Indeterminate are tomato plants such as the tomato cherry. These could grow for years. They bear lots of fruit. The varieties tend to be very small, however. These plants, the determinate tomatoes, you get better results by pruning them. You get fruits that are very uniform in size. Also, from what Arlene told me, the quality of the fruit in terms of the sweetness of the fruit, the texture of the fruit improves a lot with pruning. So, once again, Hannah has given me this shears, and this shears is not going to be used to cut like the big branches of the ornamental plants. These are specifically designed for good, sharp, clean cuts. You don't want to be pruning your tomato trees and you're damaging the structure of the tree itself. You want clean cuts. So these have already been pruned, and let me show you what happens when you do not prune a tomato tree from the early stages. The tree begins to split. It sends out suckers, and this takes a lot of energy out of the tomato plant. So rather than the nutrients going towards the fruit, it's now going towards the growth of the plant. And we could start here. These leaves are no longer useful to this plant. You also want to be trimming off the branches of your young tomato plants, and we are lucky because I have some tomato plants over on the other side that have not been pruned as yet. But in the meanwhile, we can make a decision. This is not going to bear any fruit, so you could clip this off. And once your plant does not have any disease, you could just simply cut this up and use it as a mulch. So I am clearing up this tree. This is also going to allow a lot of wind to pass through, so these plants are going to be well aerated. Also, a lot of sunlight is going to come into the plants. Tomatoes require a lot of sun, right? So I am trimming off all these. This is working like a real charm. And that's the pruning that I'm going to do for now. Okay, you can stop there. Finish up. Stick all these things really working well, boy.
Yeah.
And they're reusable.
That's a good thing about it.
Yeah. Lennon brought down the spray can yesterday.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I want to spray the entire yard.
What are you gonna use?
Well, first I want to do I want to treat all the ants. So I'll do like a pesticide for the soil. And also fungus.
Okay.
I want to treat the yard for fungus.
So general spraying?
General spray, yeah.
Okay. What about these leaves here? Okay. 3.
This is something called most likely the tomato curve, but it's an indication that the plant may be under some sort of stress in terms of water levels or too much heat.
Okay.
So this is a natural reaction for the plant to conserve.
It's really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright, so we'll move over to the small tomatoes. You see where I put our pak choy? Right, so one of the things people should do if they have a garden is things like these pak choy. Yes, they need a lot of sunlight, but they also need some shade.
Right.
So I rest that there. You know, I'm only going to move it now because of the take we're going to take now. Right?
Oops.
Yeah. No, that's right. Let's press this camera here.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, are you ready?
Yeah, let me just move this out here. Okay. Ready?
That's right. Hold on. What is it again? Video, right? Video, right?
Yeah, video. Right. Now, if you want, you could angle that because I want you to come in low with the shot.
Yeah, I'm going to bend.
Right, no, you're going to bend, but we want the camera. Instead of that, we could just slacken this a bit. Or you don't get much flex on this.
No, you don't get much.
Right. So I want these shots as close as possible, right?
Right, but remember, leave room for me, yeah?
Yeah, of course.
To get into you.
Of course.
So are you ready?
Yeah. This is the best time to start to train your tomato plant from small. So we have a tomato tree here that has not been pruned at all. We're going to start at the base and we are going to remove all these lower leaves. And the reason why we want to do that, when you're wetting the tomato plant, this dirt is going to be splashing on these lower leaves, making the plant very prone to fungus. So it's important, clean cuts. And that's enough for now. And let's start to train it towards this stake. Don't throw away your old broomsticks. It's really going to come in very, very handy. These are easy to drive into the soil and it also looks very neat. So we just gently gonna bring this tomato plant here to the stake. Not too tight, this plant is growing. And that's it. Now, we don't have that issue as yet, but usually you will see a little bud coming out here, and those are actually the suckers. So when it reaches to a point where you could hold it and pinch it off, you want to pinch it off. Otherwise, like with those tomato plants that I didn't do it, the tomato plant is going to start to split into maybe 2 or 3 different directions. These branches, the problem with it is, yes, you're going to get more flowers, but as they take fruit, because they are not truly attached to the plant with any sort of strength, as they take fruit and the fruit develops, most likely those branches are going to break off the tomato plant. And from the time your plant is broken, it's going to be prone to a lot of disease. So it's important to remember, as you see those suckers coming out, you want to prune them off. So let's just show you all again. Here we are pruning off just at this moment the lower branches. Believe it or not, this is something after we use it, we store it away. You should clean this with rubbing alcohol especially if you're going to be pruning other types of plants. You could be actually transmitting diseases to other plants. So we're going to give one last demonstration here. Gently pull the plant, because remember, the plant is growing upright and it's a bit away from the stake. So I am just going to give it a very loose fit. Now the plant has the ability to begin to run up the stake. When you're putting these stakes down, always try and bear in mind where the plant roots are. Now I planted these tomato trees with a bit of it lying down, so the root system is more to this side. You could also add in these stakes at the point in time where you planted the seedling. As a matter of fact, you could drive these stakes into the ground, then plant the tomato plant. So you don't want to be damaging the root system of the plant. So I'll finish up those later, and we could move along here a bit. And Judith, you were asking, I actually have 3 pawpaw trees set right now, and they're doing quite well. You can cut there. Okay, you can start back. Now we are trying to utilize every inch of this garden. No space is going to be wasted. Here I'm doing some companion gardening. There is an eggplant here, or melangen baigan, and this is quite a large pot which could definitely support other plants. This is a body, and what beans do for the soil is add a lot of nitrogen. So having this body plant in here is actually going to give this baigan a source of nitrogen. It's not going to interfere with the growth of the baigan, because as you can see here, I've made a little trellis just to get the body onto the fence. I made sure that I space these 2 plants really far apart, because this baigan is going to get a huge crop. This pepper plant is also going to get a huge crop. So this body is not going to interfere with these plants, because they will be heading in this direction. This tomato plant is going to do quite well here. As it grows, I may just shift it to a more sunny spot. Now I have plans for this particular area here. This, once again, is another wasted space, and we could beautify this tank by introducing a trellis here, and we could place 2 huge plant pots in this particular area. Maybe we could run a watermelon vine, maybe a Karaili vine, maybe some more bodi. So we are utilizing all the space, and this is what you have to do in your garden, especially if space is an issue. There are things that you can do. Cut. This is a perfect example of some of the things you could do to utilize all your space. I just simply ran a lat across from this tree to the other tree, and I have the ability of hanging quite a number of pak choy here. Now, one of the advantages of having your own home garden is to be able to enjoy soft, tender vegetables. We don't have to wait for this pak choy to reach the mature size. We could actually, whatever size pak choy we get here, within 4 weeks time, we harvest. And you could have multiple pots. I just simply bore 2 holes on either, a hole on either side, string it up and hang it up. These could also, I could utilize, if I don't want to put string on the fence, I could come from that post, I could come to this clothesline here, and I could just hang up more plants. So we will see how these pak choi plants, we could see what kind of results we're going to get. And remember, when you're planting, you're also planting for the birds. So yes, I am going to lose some pak choi in the process. However, I am going to plant so much of pak choi here that those birds going to get tired of eating pak choi. They will be looking for something else. So there are quite a number of things when you also set up your little plants, because it looks quite decorative. You could spot your plants, and what this is actually going to do on the, when you rest stuff on the soil, this is actually shading the soil, so a lot of moisture is going to be locked in. Now I have intentions of planting this pepper plant here, so I am training this seedling in the designated spot where it is going to be planted. It may be planted here, or it may be planted in this area here. I have worked this soil, I've dug in. Remember, I don't turn over the soil. I added some manure, some of the cow dung that I collected a couple months ago, and it's underneath this soil. And I've also spread some rooting salt. So by the time I put this plant into this ground here, this salt would have already turned into what we call the nitrate form, which is the ready available nutrients that plants could pick up easily. These things must turn into the nitrates in order for the plants to be able to absorb the nutrients. So you could be creative. I did this walkway and I utilized the troughs. I know that this plant, from shifting it all over the garden, the amount of light I get here, this is going to thrive really, really good here. Now, if I didn't realize this camera wasn't turned to us now.
Okay, man.
Anyway, the camera running?
Yes, it is.
Okay. If I have to do this over again, or in the future I am going to be planting, I will certainly do things a little differently. For example, I don't like how this looks. This is definitely an eyesore. It's in the middle of the garden. Yes, it did its job in terms of protecting the pak choi. However, what I've noticed is that this area gets the most amount of sun, particularly, you can raise the camera a bit, particularly the midday heat. This trough, in the future, I will definitely go the way of tomatoes. So these pak choi will know this area here, where the tomatoes are, is actually a more shaded area. As you can see, there's a mango tree behind us, and it protects the plants in this area from the harsh afternoon suns. So when these tomato trees are finished with their bearing, I am definitely going to be planting either lettuce or pak choi in that bed to the back. And maybe even to give it some more protection, I may drive a stake. Well, I already have this, so maybe I could put a shade plot from this post to that post, which is going to even breaks it from the midday heat. Another thing to bear in mind is this. Plants like a pak choi could definitely be grown in a pot or in a smaller trough. So let's utilize the larger vessels that we have for plants such as tomatoes, baigan, pimentos, And as you can see, we hanging them up. It's taking up less space. We need the ground for our bigger plants. This pimento tree is doing really, really well. Look at its leaves. There's nice growth in there. You can raise the camera to me. Pepper trees, melangen trees, bodi, these are all success. These are all. That's the thing about when you forget how to pronounce it. But I'll find out another way around it, guys. I'll find out another way around it. Pepper trees, melangen, bodi, disease, insects such as mites, leaf miners. These plants are prone to them. If you really want to get a successful plant, go to your garden shop and tell them that you want to get a treatment for mites. We are going to be treating this pepper plant for 6 weeks. And after that 6 weeks, this plant will no longer be affected by mites. You want to be treating your plants, as I said in our previous video, you want to be treating your plants from the early stages when it's not in flowering. You want to be treating your plant before it reaches the stage of flowers. You don't want to be spraying a plant when it's bearing fruit or vegetables. Hence the reason, from seedling for 6 weeks, we'll be treating all the plants such as the peppers, the melangen.
Oh boy. Sorry.
Because for those of you who have planted melangen in the past, you would have experienced where your melangen trees are looking healthy, they are bearing lots of flowers. However, you never got one melangen. And the reason for that is there is a worm that attacks the flower of the melangen plant. And this healthy plant will just be dropping its flowers like a pui tree. You will never get a melangen. So it does not make sense to be planting something and all you're getting is flowers. Cut. Right. You can come over here, Daddy.
Run the camera?
Yeah, man. You may be experiencing financial constraints, and there are different options that you could use. You could use tires to plant in, and believe it or not, somebody suggested in the comments that you could plant in cardboard boxes. I have done some research, and we are going to try planting in this cardboard box. Is the cardboard box going to deteriorate? Of course it is. But I'm sure that I'm going to be able to get at least one cycle of plants from this. So we'll be trying this. What I'm going to plant in here, I'm not too sure as yet, but I know I have some mature chorai baji seeds, and in the meanwhile, I am going to scatter those seeds here so that I could get some chorai baji seedlings. Come over here now. Excuse me. Right. So I'd like to thank everybody once again for all the support that has been given to me and my channel. Definitely, Frags will be getting his treat now. So we're going to make sure that we have Frags getting that beef jerky and enjoyed it. Hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and I want to thank my dad. Daddy,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much for assisting me.
You're welcome, man.
I
You're
really,
welcome.
really appreciate it, because definitely to get some of the shots that we would have been able to capture here this morning, there's no way I could do it by myself. So
Yeah.
I want to thank you,
Mm.
and also I want to thank you for the privilege that you all have given me in terms of returning home here. I feel once again like our son returned to his parents' home. And also thank you for the privilege of turning your beautiful ornamental yard into what is now a coexisting garden, where we have vegetables and we have ornamental plants. So guys, thanking you all once again for all the support. This is Lasana Batis saying, we out till next time.